Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour. Pakistan attempted to attack military targets in 15 Indian cities on Wednesday night. Indian air defense systems destroy Pak drones and missiles. India retaliates, neutralizes air defense system in Lahore. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds a high-level meeting with officials to review national preparedness and interministerial coordination following Operation Sindoor. New Delhi issues a stark warning. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says it is not India's intention to escalate, but if attacked by Pakistan, the response would be very, very strong. Indian government briefs political parties on Operation Sindoor. A united opposition hails the strike on terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. India asks its states to stay alert in the wake of Operation Sindoor. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh cautions people against falling prey to fake news and disinformation spread online. On the night of 7th and 8th May, Pakistan attempted to engage a number of military targets in northern and western India. These were neutralized by the integrated counter-UAS grid and air defense systems. The debris of these attacks is now being recovered from a number of locations that prove the Pakistani attacks. Pakistan attempted to attack military targets in 15 Indian cities. All attempts by Pakistan were foiled last night. On Thursday morning, Indian armed forces targeted air defense radars and systems at a number of locations in Pakistan. The air defense system at Lahore has been neutralized. Indian response has been in the same domain with the same intensity as Pakistan. 16 innocent lives have been lost, including 3 women and 5 children due to Pakistani firing, and hence India was compelled to respond to bring mortar and artillery fire from Pakistan to a halt. Indian armed forces reiterate their commitment to non-escalation provided it is respected by the Pakistani military. The US Embassy and Consulate in Pakistan issued a travel advisory for its citizens amid rising tensions between India and Pakistan. In the press statement, the consulate said that the US citizens who find themselves in an area of active conflict should leave if they can do so safely. If it is not safe to leave, they should shelter in place. The consulate has also received initial reports that authorities may be evacuating some areas adjacent to Lahore's main airport. So this is the travel advisory coming from the US Embassy and Consulate in Pakistan. So India has foiled multiple attempts made by Pakistan, and it has also launched a proportionate response on the LOC. The debris of attacks is now being recovered from a number of locations in India that prove these Pakistani attacks, and here the US asking its citizens in Lahore to either leave or take shelter if they cannot relocate. So situations seeming volatile at the moment. And DD India's Amritpal Singh joins us for more. Amritpal, how swift has India's response been to neutralize these escalatory attacks by Pakistan?
Tanvi, you'll have to repeat your question, please.
I said, how swift has India's response been to these escalatory attacks by Pakistan last night?
Oh, Pakistan last night attempted to attack 15 Indian cities, which the Indian air defense systems foiled. The US gridlock foiled their attempts. Not a single missile launched by Pakistan hit any of the 15 cities or targets Pakistan had intended. All they were neutralized in the air itself. All that has fallen on a few Indian cities is the debris of these missiles or drones that they launched from their territory. In response, India reacted immediately and launched similar strikes in the same proportion and in the same domain, targeting many of their cities. Of them, neutralizing the Lahore air defense system was successful. So the Lahore air defense system has been completely neutralized. Therefore, there were reports emanating that there were multiple blasts heard in Lahore last night. And early this morning, these reports started emerging after local eyewitnesses put out some videos. Now that the Indian establishment has confirmed that these were retaliatory measures, they were essentially in the same proportion and in the same domain as Pakistan has launched. It's a very clear signal to Pakistan that if they go down the misadventurism way and climb up the escalatory ladder, India will respond in the same manner. Now, attacking the air defense system clearly shows that India has hit their military targets. Remember, on May 7th, when the attacks were launched, strikes were launched by India, they were launched on non-military installations. So after having neutralized the air defense system, clearly shows that India has responded by hitting their military target of the air defense system. That is in retaliation. That is something which Pakistan started. Look at the cities they've attacked or tried to attack. They've attacked Amritsar, where your RT div is. They've tried to attack Chandigarh, where I am right now, where your Western Command is. They tried to attack Bathinda, where your 10 Corps is. They tried to attack Jalandhar, where your 9 Corps is of the Indian Army. They attacked Avantipura, Bathinda Air Base. The Bathinda Air Base is there. Avantipura, Srinagar, so where the 15 Corps is there. So clearly, their attempt was to reach within military targets. That's a different story. They could not succeed. The Indian defense systems, the air defense systems neutralized our UAS gridlock, neutralized their drones and missiles before they could, or weapon systems launched before they could hit their intended targets. But clearly, they went up the escalatory ladder. They started the escalation. We've been successful in hitting their military target, that is their air defense system of Lahore. This morning, they shut down their western airspace. Their airspace has been completely shut. Lahore airport is completely shut now. So the signaling from India is, when you attack Tanvi, an air defense system, you basically in military terms, to understand that in military terms, you're basically neutralizing the air defense system and saying that now our missiles will come and hit you because your air defense system has been neutralized. So the signaling is very clear. You touch our cities, we will attack your cities. You want to go up this alley, we will walk you up this alley. The world understandably is concerned, but the onus of escalating it is clearly on Pakistan, and the ball is clearly in Pakistan's court now. Tanvi.
Okay, Amritpal, so India has clearly committed to non-escalation. But given Pakistan's unprovoked nighttime action, does it seem clear now that Pakistan seems to be moving in the other direction?
Look at the statement issued by coming out of India. The statement coming out of the defense establishment of India is that all our measures are non-escalatory, but the Indian Army has and will respond in the same domain and the same proportion. Same domain means you attack our military targets, we will attack your military targets. You attack our civilian cities, our civilian areas, we will attack your civilian areas. So clearly, we will match every step of yours. So the message is loud and clear that India does not want to escalate it, but if Pakistan wishes to go down that way, India will respond and retaliate in the same domain, in the same proportion.
Okay,
You've killed 16 of ours.
Yeah.
If something happens, then you're responsible.
Okay, thank you, Amrit. Request you to stay with me as I also welcome former Lieutenant General Rajiv Chopra, defense expert on the show. Rajiv ji, while India only struck at terror camps in Pakistan, Pakistan has chosen to blatantly attempt to strike at military targets in India, although unsuccessfully. In your view, what does that mean as regards any possible escalation now?
Tanviki and Jahan viewers, thank you for inviting me on the show. It is actually very, very heartening that the Indian armed forces are responding in the way Pakistan understands. Like you are aware, on 22nd April, we were struck badly in Pahalgaon where innocent tourists were targeted. And we had said कि चुन चुन के मारेंगे और इनको मिट्टी में मिला देंगे. We were hinting at the terrorist camp, and Pakistan always has been in denial mode. They are in denial mode that we don't have any terrorist camp, and moreover, they are also victim to terrorism. Therefore, we had no other way but to neutralize their targets, which are their jihadi camps. If you are aware, what has been coming, that we have 21 jihadi camps in Pakistan, which are Hizbul Mujahideen, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. Out of them, we picked the 9 camps because we said all actions are non-escalatory, and these terrorists who have been perpetrating violence in India, we need to target that because Pakistan is not doing anything to take out these camps, and they are infiltrating India with impunity. Therefore, the selection of target was very, very correct. The perpetrators who had brought violence and misery in Indian families, they had to be rewarded in the same coin, but they understand the language. We had been requesting Pakistan to do away with the terrorist camp and prevent infiltration, but Pakistan uses them as a strategic weapons. Therefore, we had no choice, and like very brought out, we had focused targeting, controlled targeting, and we only targeted the terrorist camps to destroy the infrastructure, so that all the 9 camps which you have seen, 4 in Pakistan and 5 in POK, they are all terrorist camps, which are the jihadi factories. They recruit terrorists, they train terrorists, they indoctrinate terrorists, and they send the terrorists through the launch pad. If you see, these targets are from 6 kilometers to over 100 kilometers. This is the first time we have shown our political resolve and the preparedness of the armed forces. We have targeted 9 targets simultaneously. This is the first time where the 3 services have launched a joint operation, integrated joint operation, and we have told them this operation is one of that kind, and we not escalate. They are non-escalatory. But we were all prepared, and we had told Pakistan if they escalate, the damage will be more devastating. And now, again, they have not learned the lesson. Yesterday, as being brought out in the army press release, that they have fired at 15 of our cities, army cantonments, and the air bases. And they have also targeted the civilian areas. To counter that, the most important thing in the warfare when it starts off, you have to take out the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance systems of either the enemy and the air bases. Because the air dominance or the air superiority is a must for any battles. Therefore, they targeted our air bases, communication centers, military station, and the weapon of the week, the targeting the civil areas also. They wanted, this is part of the information campaign what they've been conducting. But Indian armed forces, they were ready 24/7, 365 days as they are there. They detected these missiles and the drone systems which are coming in all these 15 cities. They were destroyed by air defense systems. We have a very robust defense system which consists of radars, missile system, and the gun systems, and also the aircraft as a last resort. These all missiles were destroyed in the air. Like what you are saying, the signatures of some of them which blasted in the air, they have fallen in the various areas. The Pakistan design is very, very clear. they want to escalate the battle to the next level, and they will be giving a befitting reply to all their misgiving, so that this may be the beginning of the end, or the jihadi nursery, the jihadi infrastructure which they have.
Okay. Amrit, if you're with me, yes, on another front, given the developing situation, there are multiple media reports suggesting that air raid sirens have been ringing in Islamabad. Is there any possibility of any serious political instability in Pakistan?
Political instability. Oh, political instability. Right now, I'm sure the civilian leadership there is listening to the military establishment there. It's now hidden fact that it's not Islamabad that runs Pakistan. It is GHQ Rawalpindi that runs Pakistan. But in times of conflict, it clearly, and when it comes to India policy, it is Rawalpindi and not Islamabad that prevails. So I don't think Shahbaz Sharif is on a different page than General Munir, at least as of now. We don't know how the situation develops in the future because Shahbaz Sharif took a meeting of the National Security Committee after the May 7 attacks, and the statement that came out that they've authorized the military to go ahead and give a suitable response, and then the DGISPR said that we will hit India at a time, place and manner of our own choosing. It will not go unanswered. Clearly escalating the situation rather than taking a wise view and lowering tensions, because India had made it very clear through its strikes that only terror networks were, or terror nerve centers were hit based on credible intelligence, very precise. Look at, you attacked Bawalkot, the 31 Corps of the Pakistan Army is in Bawalkot. It's at a stone's throw away from that Markaz Subhanallah, but only Markaz Subhanallah was hit. Our missile did not deviate, did not lose its path. So it was a carefully planned operation, no collateral damage, no civilians killed. Only the terrorists hold inside these buildings on which there was specific credible intelligence. There was this whole rancor in India about, and perhaps justified because given the outrage after the Pahalgam attacks, that it's been 14 days. What is the government doing? What is the military establishment doing? Why aren't they bringing those to justice? Now we know that those 14 days were used to gather specific credible information, plan it to the T, plan it to precision, so that there is no civilian damage, no military installations are hit, no economic installations are hit. But despite that, Pakistan should have reflected inside and understood the signaling by India that India does not want to escalate it. It's a measured and a responsible response, but they took they retaliate. Look at how they've retaliated. They've retaliated. What all places did they try to attack? Avantipura, our air base. Srinagar, BB Cant, your 15 Corps. Jammu, your military formation. Pathankot, both your air base and your military formation, army formation. Amritsar, your div formation. Kapurthala, Jalandhar, your 9 Corps. Ludhiana, Adampur, again, Adampur, your air base. Bathinda, again, your 10 Corps. Chandigarh, right at the door of Chandi Mandir, your Western Command. They've gone down south to Bhuj. North Srinagar, coming inside Chandigarh, where I am right now, is 250 kilometers from the border. They've come 260 kilometers inside your country. You hit them in Bawalpur, about 100 kilometers from the border. So they have, escalated it. So the press release, if you read it and read the fine print, it says that, let me read from it and you'll understand. It says when the first part of when the 7th May attacks took place, it was specifically mentioned that Pakistan military establishments had not been targeted. It was also reiterated that any attack on military targets in India will invite a suitable response. If the Lahore air defense has gone, it's a suitable response. Their military installation has now been hit because they attempted to hit your military installations first. Tanvi.
Okay. Lieutenant General Chopra, how big a blow is this to Pakistan, the neutralization of the air defense radars and systems in Pakistan?
Tanvi, all the most important thing in warfare is the destruction of the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance system. Surveillance systems And any war starts with the Air Force. The air strikes on both sides of either side. Therefore, in a proactive action, it is always there to destroy the air bases or the aircraft or the air defense systems. Now, the air defense systems consist of radars, the air per se, the drone system, and also the missile system plus the guns. What the entire borders are covered by the surveillance system. I'll bring out in the two things. Yesterday night, when they fired these missiles and the drones in the 15 cities or the air bases, where they were neutralized by a strong, robust air defense system, which consists of S-400 plus the Agni missiles and number of gun missile systems. Therefore, we were able to destroy what you can see in your screen that these are craters of some which have fired and landed up in the civil areas. The craters, we'll be able to see the signatures of the craters from where they fired, with the depth of the craters, what kind of explosives they had, what kind of bombs they had. And now in a retaliatory action, I've been told in the army press release that we have taken away their HQ-9 missile system in Lahore. This means the entire the surveillance system and the air defense system in Lahore, which is the most important city as far as the warfare is concerned, is presently blind, and the aircraft will not be able to fly, or half of the aircraft will be used for air defense systems. Therefore, India has got a now advantage on the air defense system. I have similarly told, which is not very clear at the moment, at number of air bases we have utilized their air defense systems. So there's a big blow to Pakistan. Our air, if we destroy the air defense systems, they'll be blind. The air force will be blind, and we'll be able to utilize their air force, which will be lying ducks in the air bases. Therefore, it's a big, initial victory for India. And let me tell you, 24/7, 365 days, the Indian Armed Forces are alert, and we become a bigger blow to them. Now, coming to one more point, which you were saying, the army, the popularity of the army or unpopular the army. I'd like to add one or more thing to this. Firstly, like yesterday also I said, in Pakistan, the army has a nation. I'll repeat again, in Pakistan, army has a nation, and whereas in India, the nation has an army. Therefore, the army rules the rules there, and most of the time, in the history of Pakistan since 1947, they have martial laws, and in the interim period, they had just a democratic government in the face, but otherwise, whether it be the defense, whether it be foreign, whether it be fiscal or financial matters, all of them are guided by the army. And the ISI also keeps a very, very stern check on the political leaders.
Okay.
And coming to now, like this may be a grave mistake by Asim Munir, where he thought, as you are aware, the insurgencies are going on in Baluchistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and also Karachi is on the boil because of this water problem.
Yes.
They're trying to divert the Indus water problem. POK has a lot of problems. And the CPEC is going nowhere, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, because the Gwadar port is the most important. And the development is not going on. Therefore, the Chinese are also pulling the strings of financial aid because the project or the aim is not being achieved. Therefore, and plus the heartland in Punjab from where the army is drawn, the problem is there. The popular leader, Imran Khan, he was the earlier cricketer, a very, very revered personality, and in the democratic setup also, he was doing a good job, which was not liking personally by Asim Munir. He overthrew when he was ISI chief, and the people are divided lot, not only the masses, the people, but also in the army. The army, like say the minority is there of the Sinds, the Baluchis, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the POK, they feel always aggrieved. Plus now there's a divide in the Punjabis who rule the roost in the army between pro-Asim Munir and pro-Imran forces there. So I want to bring out one thing here.
Yes.
There's a very catchy slogan I
Yes.
found in Pakistan media. ये जो दहशत गर्दी है, दहशत गर्दी है, इसके पीछे वर्दी है. ये जो दहशत गर्दी है, इसके पीछे वर्दी है. So the army is being blamed by the masses for all the evils.
And understandably, this sentiment is likely to increase further. Amrit, would you like to add to that, that in Pakistan, there is, the army has a nation instead otherwise?
Oh, that's an old joke, like General Chopra said. You know, the other countries have an army. In Pakistan, the army has a country. That's an old joke. This is they've been doing this since they were founded. Since the army, for half the years, they've been under direct military rule, and it is it's no hidden, it's no secret that when it comes to their foreign policy, when it comes to their Indian policy, when it comes to their internal security, and when it comes to their economic policy, they make pins here. They make biscuits. That's what they do. So they control. They decide who the prime minister will be. They like Imran Khan. One day they'll install him. The second day they don't like him. They throw him out. They bring in the Sharifs. Earlier, the Mian, when they didn't like the Mian Biradran, the Mian Biradran had to step out of the country and seek asylum. Then they give a NRO. They like Benazir today. They don't like Benazir. So that's something which is pretty well established. I want to ask General Chopra. General Chopra, what would General Fayaz Hussain Shah of the 4 Corps or the Lahore Corps be thinking right now, given that the Lahore Corps is lying unprotected with the Lahore AD down, and it's building an AD is not a handiwork of a night. So what would the Lahore Corps commander be thinking right now?
Like in the army we say, attack the mind of the army commander and not his forward troops. Are you getting me? I'll repeat again. They say attack the mind of the army commander or not his forward troops. Which Chanakya Niti the Indian army has played. They've attacked the mind of the corps commander of the Lahore Corps. He's totally in panic because he'll be without his air defense system, the air base, the communication system. And today, in today's scenario, if you take out the communication systems, he'll be a sitting duck. He'll not be able to communicate the forces. The control headquarters are not there. So he must be seeing what best can be done. But let me tell you, there'll be panic. The command and control will be affected. And the air, India may, if not have the air dominance, it may have air superiority in case we go for further escalation. So advice to Pakistan is that whatever is done, now it should come back and say sorry. If not sorry, at least he should not escalate it to the next level.
Yes.
Because we have very strong leadership at the political level, very strong defense forces, and post 2019, after the Balakot, we have procured precision strike systems. Whether it be the army, whether it be the navy, whether it be the air force, whether the drone systems, the fire and forget missiles, we can fire from standoff distance, like you said, minimum collateral damage. The best thing India could do, we fired post 1 o'clock at night because we did not want to harm their civilians.
Yes,
We
25
have exercised
minutes.
so much of restraint.
And the operation
We
was
targeted
concluded.
only their terrorist infrastructure, though it's supported by the army. The army has been denied. And yesterday you saw in the funeral, the army officers, the army generals were there. And the coffins of the terrorists were in the army flag.
Indeed.
And let me tell you, but they are just using and misusing this terrorists. They are also dispensable commodity as far as they're concerned. Because they know one jihadi goes, there'll be another jihadi. And a jihadi's life is not very much. It may be 2 to 3 years. And the time is not far. Now, enough is enough. We have drawn the red line and we are climbing up the aspiratory level with confidence. We have struck deep into Pakistan simultaneously by the army, the air force. And this is the first time ever in the history of the armed forces during no war, no peace time, we have an integrated joint operation by the Army, Navy, Air Force. And it is a very, very praiseworthy act which they did with minimum collateral damage so that they don't go to the next escalated level. So my advice is that enough is enough. They must learn their lesson and take out their terror camps and not send terrorists to create havoc in India.
It's an interesting line of thought there. Terrorists creating a war. Well, enough is enough. One hopes that wiser counsel, prevails in the minds of entire Pakistani security apparatus. I would like to thank you, Lieutenant General Rajiv Chopra, Amritpal Singh, for joining us on the show and giving us valuable insight on this story. Still to come on DD India Newshour. 14 Pakistani soldiers killed in Balochistan. Baloch Liberation Army BLA claims responsibility for the twin attacks. Quad countries Australia, India, Japan and the United States conduct a key simulation exercise amid the heightened tensions between India and Pakistan. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a high-level meeting with secretaries of various ministries and departments of the Government of India to review national preparedness and interministerial coordination in the light of recent developments concerning national security. Prime Minister Modi stressed the need for seamless coordination among ministries and agencies to uphold operational continuity and institutional resilience. Prime Minister Modi reviewed the planning and preparation by ministries to deal with the current situation. The secretaries have been directed to undertake a comprehensive review of their respective ministries' operations and to ensure foolproof functioning of essential systems. This with special focus on readiness, emergency response and internal communication protocols. All ministries have identified their actionable points in relation to the conflict and are strengthening processes. The ministries are ready to deal with all kinds of emerging situations. A range of issues were discussed during the meeting. These included, among others, strengthening of civil defense mechanisms, efforts to counter misinformation and fake news, and ensuring the security of critical infrastructure. Prime Minister Modi called for continued alertness, institutional synergy, and clear communication as the nation navigates a sensitive period. So the government also earlier convened an all-party meeting for a briefing on Operation Sindoor in the parliament. During the meeting chaired by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, the leaders were briefed by the government on the operation. Union Ministers Amit Shah, Dr. S. Jaishankar, JP Nadda and Nirmala Sitharaman represented the government, while Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge from the Congress attended the meet among other political party leaders. Leaders cutting across party lines lauded Operation Sindoor and expressed pride in the armed forces' action against the terrorists.
सारे पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स ने मैच्योरिटी दिखाया है। ऐसे वक्त में जब देश एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती को हाथ में ले करके काम कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें राजनीति का कोई जगह नहीं है। ये हमारे पूरे पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ने दर्शाया है और सब लीडर्स ने एक मत से हमारे सेनाओं ने जो कार्रवाई की है ऑपरेशन सिंदूर को लेकर के पूरे बधाई भी दिया और गौरव का एहसास सबको हुआ है और सबने एक जुट में कहा है कि सरकार का हर निर्णय को साथ देंगे, सेना की हर कार्रवाई को साथ देंगे और कोई इसमें विरोधाभास नहीं है।
हम सभी जितने भी पार्टी के लोग थे, सभी ने ये बताया कि इस घड़ी में, इस संकट के घड़ी में हम सब आपके साथ हैं और आप जो काम कर रहे हैं करते रहिए और देश के हित में हम आपके साथ रहेंगे।
आज के ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग में मैंने कॉम्प्लीमेंट किया हमारी आर्म फोर्सेस को और भारत सरकार को कि उन्होंने एक ऑपरेशन सिंदूर को अंजाम दिया। मैंने अपनी बात में ये कहा कि एक इंटरनेशनल कैंपेन हमको चलाना चाहिए टीआरएफ के ख़िलाफ़, और ख़ास तौर से सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल इसको डेजिग्नेट करे, और हमको यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका को ये बताना है कि वो अपने ही मुल्क में इसको फॉरेन टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डेजिग्नेट करे।
So this all-party meeting comes a day after the Indian Armed Forces carried out targeted strikes at terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The coordinated strikes were in response to the April 22nd terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam, when a group of terrorists gunned down 26 civilians, including one Nepali citizen. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his residence in New Delhi. According to sources, the National Security Advisor briefed Prime Minister on the current situation. The meeting came a day after India struck at terror sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. On Wednesday, NSA Ajit Doval had reached out to several counterparts across the globe on actions taken against terrorist infrastructure in retaliation for the Pahalgam terror attack. He had asserted that India has no intent to escalate the situation, but it is well prepared to retaliate resolutely if Pakistan decides to escalate. And my colleague Dibendu Mondal is joining me now. Dibendu, there have been multiple meetings since morning in New Delhi. Centre has briefed the political parties about the terror strikes against Pakistan. National Security Advisor has briefed the Prime Minister. Prime Minister has taken a meeting of the Chief Secretaries. So if you could summarize for us what is happening at the moment in New Delhi in the power circles.
Well, Tanvi, the situation is developing. It is a very, very dynamic situation that we are in currently. And of course, meetings have been taking place since yesterday, since the news of Operation Sindoor broke out. And since the briefing of the Indian Armed Forces since yesterday, we have seen series of meetings being conducted by the top ministers as well as senior officials of the government of India. Yesterday, we saw Amit Shah holding a meeting with the chief ministers of the bordering states, the chief secretaries of all states and the DGPs of all the states. Today we had a series of meeting in the Prime Minister's office with the Prime Minister and all the secretaries of the ministries of Government of India. There have been a meeting with the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi met one-on-one to discuss about the emerging situation and the current situation in India, especially with regards to the escalation that Pakistan had been carrying out or have been trying to carry out in India. So therefore, we have these series of meetings that are underway, that have been happening since morning. And not to forget, Tanvi, of course, the all-party meeting that had taken place at about 11 a.m. this morning in the Parliament building in New Delhi. The meeting is crucial given the fact that it was a symbol of mature democracy, where all political parties stood united by the government for their action that they have taken in terms of weeding out terror camps from inside Pakistan as well as Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So therefore, these and also the meetings which the Prime Minister had with the secretaries of the Government of India, it did see the preparedness of each and every ministry to see whether all the ministries are working in sync, to give out a message to all the ministries to work in synergy and in cooperation with each other, and to also ensure that they are able to tackle any eventuality or any situation that emerges in India at this time, and therefore to work in coordination as well as in support of each other. So therefore, these series of meetings are very, very crucial at this time because it keeps all the department of the Government of India as well as the ministries as well as the states informed, along with all the security agencies as well as the intelligence agencies that are working round the clock on the ground.
Okay,
and of course,
very quickly, Dibendu, in fact, when Defence Minister Rajnath Singh came out of the all-party meeting, he also gave a word of caution to everyone in the media and, of course, the citizens not to fall prey to fake information, because Pakistan apparently is indulging in a lot of disinformation campaign. A word on that.
Well, Tanvi, this is a modern warfare, and we are in an era where modern warfare, which is which is also the psychological warfare and social media warfare, is also part of the game. So, of course, Pakistan is trying to push multiple social media accounts into India. The ISI is very intelligent in designing these proxy accounts on social media and pushing it to the Indian audiences for consumption. So, therefore, we need to. It is for all our viewers also that we need to ensure and exercise caution to believe whatever you see on social media is not true, and therefore all newses that are coming in needs to be verified from verifiable accounts as well as from verifiable handles, specifically with regards to any operations. With regards to this particular operation, Sindoor will only come out from the official handle of the Government of India, which includes the Press Information Bureau as well as the Ministry of Defence and ADGPI, Indian Army. Other than that, all the news that are circulating on social media could be hoaxes, could be fake. So therefore, this misinformation, disinformation, psychological warfare created by the ISI to demoralize the people of India as well as the armed forces should be thwarted, and is being thwarted by the Government of India. So therefore, this is, as you know, Tanvi, in this modern era of warfare, these are all psychological tactics being taken up by the Pakistani ISI.
Yes, thank you very much, Dibyendu, for all those updates. So yes, India's enemies remain relentless, whether along the borders or in cyberspace, but the nation stands prepared. The Indian government is acting with resolve, fortifying our defense not just with weapons but with truth. From exposing misinformation to dismantling Pakistan-backed propaganda networks, every step is aimed at safeguarding citizens from these psychological warfare techniques.
After India's strike on 9 terror camps in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, a parallel conflict has unfolded on social media with fake videos, misleading images and unverified claims flooding platforms like X and Facebook. The Indian government's fact-check unit under the Press Information Bureau has ramped up its effort to debunk false narratives being circulated online. The government has urged people to avoid sharing unverified information and rely only on official sources.
जो फेक न्यूज़ है, हमारा देश का एकता को कमज़ोर करने के लिए कई गलत नैरेटिव्स या फेक न्यूज़ चलाने का प्रयास कर रहा है, इसका मुद्दा सामने में आया है और हम अपील करना चाहते हैं कि ऐसे समय में कोई फेक न्यूज़ गलत तरीके से नैरेटिव कोई अगर चलाते हैं बाहर से देश के अंदर में, तो उसको विश्वास ना करें और कोई भी न्यूज़ ऑथेंटिक हो तभी इसको विश्वास करें.
What started as a focused and effective military operation by the Indian Armed Forces has now spiraled into a chaotic online propaganda rift. Pakistan-based handles are tagging old videos to falsely claim a strike on a military base in Amritsar. Debunking these false claims, PIB said that the video being shared is from a wildfire last year. Pakistani social media accounts are recycling this old video claiming a hit for Pakistani forces. PIB's fact check, however, found that the video dates back to 2019 when an Indian Air Force helicopter crashed near Budgam, Jammu and Kashmir. Demolishing Pakistan's claim of shooting down an Indian fighter jet, PIB clarified that the video being shared is from February 2025 and depicts the crash of an Indian Air Force Mirage 2000 aircraft near Shivpuri, Gwalior, which occurred during a routine training mission. Pro-Pakistan social media handles and even influential political figures are deliberately spreading fake news, fabricating stories of miraculous military victories and heroic retaliation that simply do not exist. Their goal is clear: to flood the information space with falsehoods so quickly and overwhelmingly that it becomes difficult to separate fact from fiction. This goes beyond mere misinformation. It's a deliberate, orchestrated effort to warp reality, mislead the masses, and shape public perception to serve a specific agenda. In a blatant effort to hijack the narrative and distract from the reality on the ground, Pakistan's state-affiliated accounts have turned to their familiar playbook, recycling outdated images, misrepresenting old videos, and inventing completely fabricated claims. However, the Indian government has taken decisive steps to combat misinformation by banning several Pakistani social media platforms known for spreading false narratives. But new mischievous ones keep cropping up every now and then. Bureau Report, DD India.
So in this series, an old video is also being shared online to show a Pakistani attack on an Indian military colony. Scrapping the video, PIB fact check has said that it is a video from Indonesia dated 6th May 2025 and was recorded before Operation Sindoor was even launched. So a lot of fake propaganda being circulated online, and one must be very careful to believe the authenticity, to verify the authenticity from the official handles of the Government of India. Now, in a statement released on Thursday, European Council has strongly condemned the brutal killing of 26 innocent lives in Pahalgam terror attack by Pakistan. EU backed India's right to act against terrorists. The statement said, and I quote, "Those responsible for the attack must be brought to justice. Every state has the duty and the right lawfully to protect its citizens from acts of terror." The EU is closely monitoring the situation between the two countries, urging both sides to engage in dialogue. So major world leaders have also supported India in its fight against terrorism. Operation Sindoor struck terror camps deep inside Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Top global officials have expressed their concern over Pakistan's support for terrorism. A report.
In response to the terror attack targeting tourists in Pahalgam on April 22nd, India launched Operation Sindoor on the terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir on Wednesday. Leaders across the world have supported India's firm stand in fight against terror. US President Donald Trump said that people knew based on some of the past experience that something was going to happen. He hoped that the fighting would end soon. Israeli ambassador to India, Reuven Azar, took to social media platform X. He wrote, "Israel supports India's right to self-defense. Terrorists should know that there is no place to escape from their heinous crimes against innocents." France's Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs on Wednesday said it supports India in its fight against terrorist groups. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot has also called on India and Pakistan to exercise restraint. Speaking in the UK House of Commons, Member of Parliament Priti Patel condemned the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack and called on the British government to strengthen counter-terror cooperation with India. Patel also highlighted the importance of UK's security cooperation with India.
This is clearly a precarious moment, and we want to see tensions ease between India and Pakistan. We want to avoid a state-on-state military escalation. We're also clear that India has the right to take reasonable and proportionate steps to defend itself and to dismantle the vile terrorist infrastructure that has caused death and continues to threaten them. And we know that terrorists based in Pakistan threaten India and Western interests. It was the country that Osama bin Laden was hiding in. And because of the long history of violence inflicted by terrorists on India, the UK has in place long-standing security cooperation agreements with India.
UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy in a statement said UK was clear in its condemnation of horrific terrorist attack in Pahalgam last month. He added that UK needs all sides to work urgently to see regional stability restored and ensure protection of civilians. Former UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak strongly supported India in its fight against terrorism, saying, "No nation should have to accept terrorist attacks being launched against it from land controlled by another country." He added that India is justified in striking terrorist infrastructure. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' spokesperson said that UN chief is very concerned and has called on both nations to exercise maximum military restraint. Netherlands MP Geert Wilders, while extended his support to India, wrote on X that Kashmir is 100% Indian, using hashtag Pakistan behind Pahalgam. Panama, a non-permanent UNSC member, has issued a statement saying it stands in solidarity with India in the ongoing fight against terrorism. Other countries, including Russia, UAE and Japan, also stood by India in its fight against zero tolerance to terrorism. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, Iranian Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Abbas Araghchi is in New Delhi on a two-day visit to India. The visiting dignitary held talks with India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and co-chaired the 20th India-Iran Joint Commission meeting today. In his opening remarks at the meeting, Minister Jaishankar said that India-Iran cooperation has progressed in many aspects, noting that the two countries are celebrating the 75th anniversary of their diplomatic ties.
Excellency, it's a great pleasure to welcome you and your delegation to India and to co-chair along with you the 20th India-Iran Joint Commission meeting today. In recent years, our cooperation has progressed in many aspects. There are also situations that we need to address. Prime Minister Modi and President Pezeshkian have met in Kazan in October 2024 and given us guidance on how to develop our ties further. They've also had a phone conversation on 26 April. Excellency, this is the 75th anniversary of our diplomatic ties. It is a reminder of the closeness of our collaboration and the deep friendship between us. I'm sure that we will mark the anniversary appropriately.
Further, Dr. Jaishankar underscored that Arakchi's visit is happening at a time when India is responding to a particularly barbaric attack on April 22nd in Jammu and Kashmir, leading it to respond on May 7th by striking at the cross-border terrorist infrastructure. The minister added that India has no intention to escalate the situation, adding that if there are military attacks on India, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very strong response.
Excellency, you are visiting India at a time when we are responding to a particularly barbaric terrorist attack on 22nd April in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. This attack compelled us to respond on 7th May by striking at cross-border terrorist infrastructure. Our response was targeted and measured. It is not our intention to escalate the situation. However, if there are military attacks on us, there should be no doubt that it will be met with a very, very firm response. As a neighbor and a close partner, it is important that you have a good understanding of the situation. Once again, a very warm welcome to Delhi, and I invite you for your opening remarks.
And earlier, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met with Saudi Arabia's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Abdel Al-Jubair in New Delhi on Thursday. During the talks, Jaishankar shared India's perspectives on firmly countering terrorism with his Saudi counterpart. Now, the Quad countries, Australia, India, Japan and the United States have conducted a key simulation exercise to boost regional coordination and disaster response. From April 28th to May 2nd, the four nations gathered at the Asia-Pacific Center for Security Studies in Honolulu, Hawaii, for a tabletop simulation focused on the Indo-Pacific Logistics Network, or IPLN. In a statement, the Ministry of External Affairs said that this network will help the Quad partners respond faster and more efficiently to natural disasters and can also be used in situations involving military conflict in the Indo-Pacific region. Experts believe that this coordination is crucial to counter any activities inimical in the Indo-Pacific. The Quad reaffirmed its commitment to keeping the Indo-Pacific region free, open and secure through practical cooperation and shared readiness. The Baloch Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for two separate attacks that resulted in the deaths of 14 Pakistani army personnel in Bolan and Kech region. In an incident, BLA's Special Tactical Operations Squad carried out a remote-controlled IED attack on a military convoy vehicle in Shorkhand area of Bolan. The blast reportedly killed all 12 soldiers on board, including Special Operations Commander Tariq Imran and Subedar Umar Farooq. In another operation, BLA fighters targeted a bomb disposal squad of the Pakistani army in Kulak Tigran area of Kech. 2 personnel were killed in the attacks. Baloch Liberation Army claiming responsibility for both these attacks. On to Europe now. Black smoke billowed from a chimney atop the Sistine Chapel on Thursday morning, signalling that the cardinals locked in a conclave have not yet chosen a new pope to guide the Roman Catholic Church. They are scheduled to hold up to 2 more ballots on Thursday afternoon, with the possible smoke signals expected sometime after 15:30 hours GMT. Thousands of faithfuls gathered in St. Peter's Square, waiting for smoke to pour from the flue on the chapel's roof. The 133 cardinals under the age of 80 began the heavily ritualized and secret process on Wednesday. The cardinals held an initial inconclusive vote on Wednesday evening. So, in the wake of the Indian Armed Forces' successful Operation Sindoor, the government's fact-checking agency has urged citizens to trust only credible sources and cautioned against forwarding or sharing unverified claims. Posting on X, PIB's fact-check unit said that in the coming days, social media will be flooded with Pakistani-sponsored propaganda, and it is crucial to scrutinize every piece of information carefully. It has also appealed the citizens to report any dubious content, especially about Indian Armed Forces or any information related to the ongoing situation, to the PIB Fact Check portal. So it's very important to remain alert, vigilant, and respond to the defense apparatus and mechanisms already in place in our country. That's it in this edition of DD India Newshour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different portals, on different social media platforms at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can also download our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.